She saved her heart for destiny. Until the billionaire showed up and took it all. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's video, I need your help. We have noticed that the channel has been losing traction recently, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It is quick, it is completely free, and it allows us to continue bringing you meaningful, emotional stories like this one. Your support truly means everything to us. Let us keep this channel growing together. Where are you watching from today? Please drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let me ask you this. What if the man you trusted with your guarded heart turned out to be someone powerful enough to destroy it or protect it forever? Let us go back to our main character. The soft hum of conversation fills the restaurant, layered with the gentle clink of silverware against porcelain plates. Warm amber light drapes over the room, turning every table into something that looks like it belongs in a magazine. This is the kind of place where people arrive confident, comfortable, certain of who they are. Natalie Carter is none of those things. She pauses just inside the glass doors, her reflection staring back at her like a quiet accusation. The dress she is wearing was bought secondhand, carefully pressed but impossible to disguise. Her heels are scuffed at the edges, and her fingers tighten around the strap of her purse as if it might anchor her in place. She exhales slowly. She promised herself she would try again. Natalie scans the room, her heart beating faster than the soft piano music drifting through the air. Her phone buzzes in her hand. A text message from her cousin flashes on the screen. Table 12. He is already there. You have got this. Table 12. She repeats it silently, like a spell. 12, 12. She weaves carefully between tables, murmuring apologies, her eyes locked on the small gold numbers fixed discreetly near the edges. 11, 10, 12. At the far side of the room, a man sits alone. He is dressed simply. Dark jacket, crisp shirt, no flashy watch, no air of impatience. He looks up from his phone just as she stops at the table, surprise flickering briefly across his face. Natalie swallows, forces a smile, and steps forward. Hi, she says, her voice a little breathless. You must be Daniel. I am Natalie. It is really nice to meet you. The man blinks. For a fraction of a second, he looks like he might correct her. His lips part slightly. His gaze drops to the empty chair across from him. Then his phone vibrates softly on the table. He glances at the screen, reads whatever is there, and something shifts in his expression. He looks back up at her and smiles. Hi, Natalie, he says evenly. Please sit. Relief washes over her so quickly it almost makes her dizzy. She slides into the chair, smoothing her dress, letting out a small nervous laugh. I am sorry, blind dates are always awkward, she says. My cousin warned me you might be quiet, so I hope you do not mind if I talk too much. A hint of amusement touches his eyes. I do not mind, he replies. Blind dates are unpredictable. The waiter approaches, menus in hand. Natalie thanks him a little too quickly, her hands fidgeting with the edges of the paper as she settles in. So, she says, glancing up, trying to sound casual. What do you do? The man leans back slightly, studying her not with judgment, but curiosity. I work in technology, he says. Oh, Natalie smiles. That sounds impressive. I am terrible with computers. I still get frustrated by parking meters. He chuckles softly, and the tension in her shoulders eases just a bit. And you, he asks. I am a waitress, she answers honestly. Nothing glamorous. But it pays the rent. Most months. There is no pity in his expression. No polite discomfort. Just attention. And without realizing it, Natalie begins to relax. She does not know that the table number is wrong. She does not know that the man across from her is not who she thinks he is. And she certainly does not know that this single mistake is about to change the course of her life forever. Natalie does not notice how the man's posture never quite matches the room. He sits like someone used to being watched, yet he looks relieved to be ignored. He keeps his voice calm, his answers clean, like he is careful not to spill too much of himself onto the table. And Natalie, for the first time in a long time, feels safe enough to speak. She tells him about double shifts at the Harbor Diner on 8th Avenue, about the way coffee refills never stop, and the way people can be both generous and cruel in the same breath. She laughs at herself when she admits she can carry 3 plates on one arm, but will still trip over her own feet when she gets nervous. Then her smile fades, just slightly, like a cloud passing over the sun. Most months, she repeats, softer this time. It pays the rent. Most months. The man's eyes stay on her. Not on her dress. Not on the restaurant. Not on the invisible price tag of the world around them. Most months sounds like you have a plan for the other months, he says. Natalie looks down at her hands, embarrassed by how quickly she has been pulled into honesty. I work extra, she says. I cut corners. I skip things that other people do not think about. Like, I do not buy lunch. I bring peanut butter sandwiches in my bag. I walk when it is too cold and my feet go numb, because the subway adds up. She forces a small laugh, as if she can joke her way out of sounding vulnerable. But it is fine, she adds quickly. I am fine. He does not nod like someone who is trying to end the conversation. He waits, like he understands that sometimes the words, I am fine, are the least true words a person can say. Natalie clears her throat and reaches into her purse, pulling out a thin, worn sketchbook. The corners are soft from being carried everywhere. A pencil is tucked into the spiral binding like it belongs there. I should not even show you this, she says, already regretting it. Then do not, he replies gently. Only if you want to. That is the thing. He gives her a choice. Natalie opens the sketchbook anyway. Inside are quick pencil drawings. A woman leaning over a diner counter. A pair of hands holding a chipped mug. A little street corner with a flickering neon sign. People she sees every day, captured like they matter. I draw when I cannot sleep, Natalie admits. I always wanted to do something with it, but you know, life. The man leans forward, careful, as if he is entering sacred space. These are good, he says. Natalie's throat tightens at the simple sentence. Not because it is praise. Because it is not pity. It is not flirtation. It is not a polite lie to make her feel better. It sounds like respect. My mother used to tell me that if something is meant for you, it will find you, Natalie says, almost whispering. Destiny and all that. He watches her for a beat. Do you believe that? Natalie hesitates. She wants to say yes, because it is easier to believe in destiny than to admit she is tired. Tired of scraping by. Tired of watching people with money move through life like doors open just because they exist. I believe in working, she says. And I believe in being decent. And I believe that if I am careful with my heart, I will not lose myself again. The man's expression changes, just slightly, like those words hit somewhere private. Before he can answer, Natalie's phone buzzes on the table. She glances down without thinking, expecting a check-in from her cousin. Instead, the message on the screen makes the blood drain from her face. Hey Natalie, I am here at table 12. I think you might be at the wrong table. I am Daniel. Natalie stares at the words as if they are written in another language. Slowly, she lifts her eyes to the man across from her. Her voice comes out small. You are not Daniel, are you? For a moment, the restaurant seems to go quiet around Natalie, even though nothing actually changes. The soft music keeps playing. Forks keep tapping plates. Someone laughs at a nearby table like the world has not just cracked open. Natalie's eyes stay locked on the man across from her. He does not flinch. He does not look confused. He looks caught. A tiny breath slips out of him, like he has been holding it for longer than this dinner. No, he says gently. I am not Daniel. Natalie's stomach drops, so fast it feels like she might be sick. Heat rushes to her face, then drains away, leaving her cold under the warm amber light. Oh my God, she whispers. Her gaze flickers past him, scanning the room in a panic. And there, just a few tables away, she sees it. Table 12. A man sits alone, looking at his phone, then up at the room like he is searching. He lifts his hand slightly when his eyes meet hers, a polite, uncertain wave. Natalie's throat tightens. She has been sitting at the wrong table, talking, laughing, opening her sketchbook, saying things she does not even say to friends on bad days. To a stranger who let her do it. Natalie pushes her chair back too quickly. The legs scrape the floor, loud and ugly. A few heads turn. She feels every glance like a spotlight. I am so sorry, she says, words tumbling out. I thought you were. I got a text and this is so embarrassing. The man stands too, slow and careful, like he is trying not to spook a wounded animal. Natalie, he says, calm but urgent. It is okay. But it is not okay. Not for her. Because Natalie has spent her whole life trying to be invisible in rooms like this. Trying not to take up space. Trying not to look like the girl who does not belong. And now she has done the worst thing she can imagine. She has taken the wrong seat in the wrong world. I should not have. She starts, then stops because her voice shakes. She cannot let herself cry here. Not in front of him. Not in front of anyone. She grabs her purse, nearly knocking her water glass, then clutches her sketchbook to her chest like it can hide her. I am sorry, she repeats, softer, almost pleading. The man takes a small step forward. I wanted to tell you. Natalie freezes. Those words land differently. You wanted to tell me. Meaning he knew. Meaning he let it happen anyway. Her eyes flash with something that surprises even her. Hurt. Anger. Not because she thinks he did it to humiliate her, but because he let her be open while he stayed protected. I cannot do this, she says. I cannot be the joke at someone else's table. You are not a joke, he says, and for the first time his composure cracks. You were real. I was not expecting that. Natalie shakes her head hard, like she can shake off the entire last hour. I do not even know your name, she says. He hesitates. Just one beat too long. And that hesitation is all Natalie needs to confirm what her instincts are already screaming. This man is hiding something. Maybe he is married. Maybe he is dangerous. Maybe he is just bored, and she was an entertaining mistake. Natalie's chest tightens with that old familiar warning. Protect your heart. She turns away before she can hear another word. I am sorry, she says one last time. To the air, to the waiter, to table 12, to the universe that keeps testing her. Then she walks fast. Too fast. She pushes through the restaurant doors, and the cold night air hits her like a slap. Outside, the city is loud again. Cars hiss past on wet pavement. Neon signs smear into color. Natalie stands on the sidewalk, breathing hard, cheeks burning, hands shaking around her sketchbook. Behind the glass, she sees him step out of the warm light and toward the exit. He is coming after her, and Natalie only has one thought in her head, sharp and desperate. Do not let him see how much this mattered. She starts walking, then almost breaks into a run, disappearing into the night before he can catch up. But what Natalie does not know is this. The man she just fled is not walking away confused. He is walking out of that restaurant with a decision. Because for the first time in a long time, someone sat down with him without wanting anything. And he is not sure he can let that go. Natalie does not stop running until her lungs burn. 2 blocks. Then 3. Past a bodega with a glowing sign. Past a line of people waiting for a late bus. She finally slows under a streetlight, clutching her sketchbook so tightly her knuckles ache. Her phone buzzes again. Another message from Daniel at table 12. I am sorry. I think you got turned around. Do you still want to meet? Natalie stares at the screen, shame rising like a wave. She cannot even bring herself to type back. She pictures Daniel sitting alone, confused, probably thinking she stood him up on purpose. She should go back. She should be polite. She should explain. But Natalie is tired of explaining herself. Tired of being the girl who apologizes for existing in spaces that were not built for her. So she turns off her phone, slips it into her purse, and keeps walking until the restaurant becomes a memory. By the time she reaches her tiny apartment, the hallway light flickers like it is exhausted too. Inside, the place is quiet and narrow. One room. A small kitchen that smells faintly like yesterday's dish soap. A stack of unpaid mail on the counter like it is waiting to accuse her. Natalie drops her keys into a bowl and stands there for a long moment, still wearing her coat, still holding her sketchbook. Then she sinks onto the edge of her bed. Her hands shake as she opens the sketchbook again, not to draw, but to prove the night was real. There is the sketch she started at the table. A quick outline of the restaurant's soft lights. The curve of a glass. The shadow of a man's hand near a phone. She stares at it, and her chest tightens. Because she realizes the most dangerous part was not the embarrassment. It was the feeling. For 1 hour, she forgot to be afraid. For 1 hour, she let herself believe that destiny could be kind. Natalie presses the sketchbook shut and whispers to the empty room, like she is warning herself. Never again. Across town, the man she ran from stands in silence in a high-rise penthouse that looks down on the city like it owns it. He is not wearing his jacket anymore. He has loosened his tie. The skyline glitters through floor-to-ceiling windows, but his eyes are not on the view. His eyes are on the image that will not leave him alone. Natalie's face when she realized she was wrong. Not just wrong about the table. Wrong about trusting the world to treat her gently. He pours himself a glass of water and does not drink it. He sets it down untouched. He cannot remember the last time a conversation felt that easy. Most people approach him like they are stepping onto a stage. They smile too wide. They laugh too quickly. They ask questions that are not really questions, just fishing lines for information. They want something. Always. But Natalie did not want anything. She told him about peanut butter sandwiches and walking in the cold because the subway adds up. She showed him her sketchbook like it was the most honest thing she owned. She admitted she was careful with her heart, and he felt something in his chest react, as if she had spoken directly to the part of him that has been locked up for years. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out something small. A thin business card. Not the real one. Not the one that could blow her life apart with a single Google search. A plain card. Minimal. A number. A name. Ethan Vale. He looks at it for a long time, then turns it over and writes a short message in clean, careful letters. I should have told you the truth at the table. I did not. That was wrong. If you are willing, I would like one chance to apologize properly. Coffee. No games. He stops, pen hovering, then adds one more line. You can pick the place. Daytime. Public. Safe. Ethan sets the card down and exhales. He knows what this is. It is not about chasing a girl. It is about not letting the best part of his night end as her worst memory. The next morning, Natalie stands behind the counter at the Harbor Diner, pouring coffee, forcing smiles, moving on autopilot as if her body can outwork her thoughts. Her coworker, Mia, watches her for a minute, then leans in. You look like you got hit by a bus, Mia says. Bad date. Natalie hesitates, then shakes her head. It was not even a date. Mia raises an eyebrow. That sounds worse. Natalie tries to laugh, but it comes out thin. Around noon, the diner door opens, and a gust of winter air rushes in. A man steps inside and looks around, as if he is searching for someone. Natalie barely glances up at first. Then she freezes. It is him. No suit. No polished restaurant glow. Just a dark coat, slightly rumpled, like he came straight here without thinking too hard. His eyes find hers, and something in his expression softens, almost relieved. Natalie's heart trips over itself. Ethan walks closer, stopping at the end of the counter like he does not want to invade her space. I am sorry, he says quietly. I should not be here if you do not want me here. Natalie grips the coffee pot tighter. Why are you here? He slides the plain card across the counter. His handwriting is steady. I owe you an apology, he says. And I would rather do it in the light. Natalie looks down at the card. Coffee. No games. Daytime. Public. Safe. Her throat tightens because, even now, he is still giving her a choice. She should say no. She should protect herself. But her eyes drift to her sketchbook sitting beneath the counter, like a secret she cannot throw away. Natalie swallows. Across the street, she says, voice flat, guarded. There is a small cafe. 2 o'clock. 30 minutes. Ethan nods once, like he understands the terms. Thank you, he says. I will be there. And as he turns to leave, Natalie watches him go, angry at herself for the way her pulse follows him. Because some part of her knows this is how destiny works. Not as magic. As a door that opens again, even after you slam it shut. 2 o'clock comes faster than Natalie expects. The little cafe across the street smells like cinnamon, espresso, and warm bread. It is the kind of place where people linger with laptops and pretend they are not listening to other people's conversations. Daylight pours through the windows, softening everything, making the world feel less sharp than it did last night. Natalie chooses a table near the front, where she can see the door and the sidewalk outside. She keeps her coat on. She keeps her purse on her lap. She keeps her sketchbook tucked close, like a shield. When Ethan walks in, he stops for a second, as if he is letting her decide whether he should come closer. Natalie does not wave. She only nods once. Ethan walks over slowly and sits down across from her. He does not reach for her hand. He does not lean in. He does not try to charm his way back into the space she ran from. He just looks at her and says, "Thank you for giving me 30 minutes. Natalie holds his gaze. Start talking. Ethan exhales. I should have corrected you at the restaurant the moment you said the wrong name. I did not. And I am sorry. Natalie's jaw tightens. Why did you not? He glances down at his hands, then back up. Because you were honest. And I do not get honesty very often. People usually arrive with an angle. You arrived with a nervous smile and a sketchbook. I did not want to interrupt that. Natalie hears the words, but she does not let them soften her too quickly. You let me say things, she replies, voice low. Personal things. And you just sat there. Ethan nods once. You. All right. That was selfish. The simplicity of it catches her off guard. No excuses. No jokes. No turning it into something romantic to dodge responsibility. Natalie shifts in her seat. So what are you hiding? Ethan does not flinch. More than you would like. Her eyes narrow. That is not an answer. It is the most honest answer I can give without turning your life into a headline. Ethan says. That sentence lands differently than the others. It is not dramatic, but it feels heavy. Like a door half open. Natalie studies him, searching for signs of manipulation. She finds something else instead. Restraint. He is watching his words like they matter, like he knows one wrong move will make her stand up and walk out. Natalie takes a slow breath. Tell me something real, then. Not vague. Ethan pauses, then nods. I was supposed to meet someone from work last night. They canceled. I stayed because I did not want to go back to my apartment and listen to the silence. Natalie blinks. The way he says it is quiet, almost embarrassed. You get lonely? She asks before she can stop herself. Ethan's mouth twitches, not quite a smile. Everyone gets lonely. Natalie looks down at the table, at the sugar packets lined up in a glass jar. She feels the old instinct rise again, the one that tells her to keep distance, keep control. But she also hears her own voice from last night, talking about destiny like she still believes in it. Ethan clears his throat gently. I did not come here to ask you for anything. I came to apologize and to offer you a clean reset. If you tell me to leave you alone, I will. Natalie's fingers brush the edge of her sketchbook under the table. A clean reset. She almost laughs at how impossible that sounds for someone like her. Nothing in her life resets cleanly. Rent does not reset. Bills do not reset. Worry does not reset. Still, she asks, what do you want, Ethan? He holds her gaze. I want to know you without the mistake. I want to earn the right to sit across from you. Natalie's throat tightens again, not from embarrassment this time, but from the strange feeling of being taken seriously. She stays silent for a moment too long, then forces herself to speak. I am not. Easy. Ethan nods. I did not think you were. Natalie's lips press together. And I do not have time for games. I said no games. Ethan answers, and his voice stays steady. I meant it. The barista calls a name at the counter. A couple laughs near the window. Life keeps moving around them, normal and indifferent. Natalie finally reaches into her bag and pulls out the sketchbook, placing it on the table between them like a boundary line. If we are doing this, she says, you do not get to lie to my face. Ethan looks at the sketchbook, then back at her. Agreed. Natalie opens to the page from last night, the quick lines of the restaurant and the shadow of his hand. She taps the paper once. You said these were good, she says. You were not just being polite. Ethan leans forward slightly, careful not to cross the boundary she set. No, I meant it. Natalie's voice lowers. I draw because it is the only thing that feels like mine. Ethan's eyes soften. Then do not let anyone take it from you. For a second, Natalie feels that dangerous warmth again, the one that makes her forget to be afraid. She closes the sketchbook slowly, then slides it back toward herself. 30 minutes, she reminds him. Ethan glances at his watch. We still have 18. Natalie exhales, almost annoyed by the calm in him. Fine, she says. Tell me about your so-called technology job. Ethan smiles, small and genuine, like he is grateful she did not run. And Natalie hates how much she wants to hear his answer. Because the mistake started this. But the next step, she realizes, is not a mistake at all. It is a choice. The next 2 weeks feel like a strange, gentle rewrite of Natalie's life. Nothing becomes easy overnight. Her rent still comes due. Her feet still ache after closing shifts. The harbor diner still smells like bacon grease and burnt coffee by midnight. But something changes in the spaces between those realities. Ethan keeps his word. No games. No late-night texts that demand answers. No sudden gifts that make her feel bought. He shows up in daylight. He sits across from her with a plain coffee, listening like her words are not background noise. Sometimes they talk for 10 minutes. Sometimes for an hour. He learns she keeps her sketchbook in her bag the way some people keep a Lucky Charm. He learns she does not cry in public, even when she wants to. He learns she always counts her cash tips twice before she goes home, because one bad week can turn into a disaster. And Natalie learns something about Ethan too. He does not talk much about his work, but he asks specific questions about hers, like he is trying to understand the weight she carries. He remembers small things. He remembers that she likes her coffee with cinnamon. He remembers that she hates crowded subway platforms. He remembers that she once said she wanted her drawings to matter to someone other than herself. One afternoon, after a long shift, Natalie meets Ethan outside the diner. The sky is low and gray, the kind of winter day that makes everything look tired. He hands her a simple envelope. Natalie does not take it right away. Her shoulders stiffen. I told you. I do not do surprises. Ethan nods. Then do not open it unless you want to. It is an invitation. That is all. An invitation. Natalie finally takes the envelope and slides a finger under the flap. Inside is a thick card with clean lettering. The Vail Foundation Winter Benefit. Friday, 7 p.m. Midtown. Natalie's stomach tightens. This is not my world. It is one night, Ethan says. And you can say no. She looks up at him. Why me? Ethan hesitates, then answers carefully. Because there will be people there who measure worth by status. And you are the kind of person they overlook. I want you to see it with your own eyes. Natalie's pulse quickens. That sounds like a warning. It is, he says softly. But it is also a promise. I will be there. Natalie swallows. Her instinct is to refuse. To protect herself. To keep her life small and survivable. But then she thinks of her sketchbook. She thinks of the way her drawings capture people who are invisible to everyone else. And she wonders what it would feel like to walk into a room that was not built for her and still stand tall. Fine, she says, voice tight. One night. Friday arrives too quickly. Natalie borrows a navy dress from Mia, one that fits her a little too snug in the shoulders, but makes her look like she belongs somewhere better than a cramped apartment and an overdue utility bill. She pins her hair back. She stands in front of her mirror and barely recognizes the woman staring back. Then she whispers to herself, do not fall for it. The benefit is held inside a renovated art space with white walls and glass doors. A valet stand sits out front like a quiet guard. People step out of black cars dressed in sleek coats and expensive confidence. Natalie's hands go cold as she approaches. Inside, soft music floats through the air. Servers glide past with trays of sparkling drinks. Donors laugh in clusters. Everything is polished. Everything is effortless. Natalie feels the old familiar pressure in her chest. I do not belong here. She scans the room for Ethan. She does not see him. A woman in a glittering gown brushes past Natalie and gives her a quick, dismissive glance, the kind that lands like a slap without ever making contact. Natalie's cheeks warm, but she lifts her chin anyway. She finds a quiet corner near a wall of framed photographs and waits, telling herself she can leave after 20 minutes if she needs to. Then the lights dim. A microphone taps once on stage. Good evening, everyone, a voice announces. Thank you for joining us tonight to support the Vail Foundation's winter initiatives. Natalie's breath catches at the name. Vail. She turns toward the stage, her heart beginning to pound. The host continues, voice smooth and practiced. This year, we have reached new heights in community investment, housing programs, and education grants, thanks to one person's leadership. Natalie's fingers curl around the strap of her purse. And then the host says, clearly, proudly, as the spotlight brightens. Please welcome our founder and guest of honor, Ethan Vail. For a second, Natalie cannot move. Then the crowd erupts in applause. A man steps onto the stage, calm and composed in a tailored suit, and the light catches his face. It is Ethan. Her Ethan. The man who drank plain coffee in a small cafe. The man who said he worked in technology like it was nothing. The man who looked at her sketchbook like it mattered. Now he stands above the room like he owns the air. Natalie's stomach drops, the exact same way it did the night she realized she was at the wrong table. Only this time, it is not a table. It is his entire life. Her mind races. How much did he hide? How much did he watch her say, without telling her the truth? Was this all another version of the same mistake? Ethan steps up to the microphone. His gaze sweeps over the crowd. And then, as if pulled by something he cannot control, his eyes find Natalie. They lock. The applause keeps going, but Natalie hears nothing. Ethan's expression shifts. Just slightly. Like he knew this moment would hurt her. Like he still chose it anyway. Natalie takes one step back, her throat tightening, her pulse hammering in her ears. And she realizes the next words he says could either break her completely, or finally tell her why destiny brought her to the wrong table in the first place. The deepest secrets are about to change everything. Subscribe now to catch the dramatic twist that is coming in the next chapter. Natalie does not wait to hear Ethan's speech. The applause blurs into a dull roar as she turns and walks, fast but controlled, like if she moves too quickly, she might shatter in the middle of the room. She slips between clusters of donors and glossy smiles, past a champagne tower that looks like it costs more than her rent. She finds a side corridor near the restrooms, where the music fades and the air smells faintly of fresh paint and expensive perfume. Her hands shake as she presses them against her thighs, trying to steady herself. She tells herself one thing, over and over. Do not cry. Do not give them that. Footsteps approach. Measured. Familiar. Ethan appears at the mouth of the corridor, his suit perfect, his expression tight in a way she has never seen before. The sound of the gala is still behind him, but here, in the quiet, he looks like a man who just ran out of oxygen. Natalie, he says, voice low. Please. Natalie lifts her chin. Do not. Ethan stops a few feet away, as if an invisible line keeps him back. I saw you leave. I had to come. Natalie lets out a bitter laugh that surprises her. You had to come. Just like you had to let me sit at the wrong table. Just like you had to let me talk while you hid. Ethan's jaw tightens. I did not hide to humiliate you. But you hid. Natalie snaps, the words sharp now that they are finally free. You let me think you were just some man with a technology job. You let me believe I was safe with you. Ethan takes a slow breath. I wanted you to know me first. Natalie's eyes flash. No, you wanted to control what I knew. There is a difference. He flinches like she hit the truth. Natalie steps closer, just one step, because anger has a strange gravity. Do you know what it felt like to sit across from you and be honest about my life? About walking in the cold because subway fare adds up? About peanut butter sandwiches because lunch is a luxury? I showed you my sketchbook, Ethan. Her voice breaks on his name, and she hates herself for it. Ethan's eyes drop to the floor for a moment, then lift back to her. I remember. That is the problem, Natalie says. You remember. You watched. You listened. And you still let me walk out of that restaurant like an idiot. Ethan's voice turns rough. I tried to stop you. You did not even tell me your real name, Natalie says, shaking her head. You gave me a clean reset, remember? Coffee. No games. Daytime. Public. Safe. She points back toward the ballroom, where the host's microphone hum is faintly audible. Was this safe? Walking into a room full of rich people and finding out the man I trusted is the man they worship. Ethan steps forward, then stops again, restrained. I invited you because you deserve to see the truth. Natalie stares at him. The truth. Or your truth. Ethan's throat moves as he swallows. Both. Natalie's chest rises and falls hard. Her eyes sting, but she refuses to blink too much. She refuses to let tears fall in this hallway like a defeated confession. So what now, she asks. You give a speech, and I stand there like your inspiring little story? The waitress who reminded the billionaire how to be human. Ethan's face tightens with pain. That is not what you are. Natalie's voice turns deadly quiet. Then tell me what I am to you, Ethan. A mistake you enjoyed? A charity case you could not resist? A test you wanted to run? Ethan's eyes lock on hers, intense and unguarded. You are the first person in years who looked at me and did not see my last name. Natalie laughs again, but it is hollow. And you rewarded that by making sure I was the only one blind. Silence stretches between them, heavy as wet concrete. Ethan finally speaks, softer. I am sorry. Natalie's lips tremble, not with weakness, but with the effort of holding herself together. I do not know if sorry fixes this, she says. Then she turns, walking back toward the exit, each step a decision. Behind her, Ethan does not call her name again, but she can feel his presence like a shadow, and she knows this is not over. Because she did not just walk away from a man. She walked away from the moment her heart started to believe in destiny again. 3 days after the gala, Natalie is back where the world makes sense. The harbor diner is loud, greasy, predictable. Orders shouted. Plates clattering. The same regulars complaining about the weather like it is their job. Natalie can handle this kind of chaos because it does not pretend to be elegant. But her body is here while her mind keeps drifting back to that corridor. Ethan's face. His voice. The way he looked at her like he had finally run out of places to hide. Natalie tells herself she is done. Then, near the end of her shift, the diner door opens, and a man in a delivery uniform steps inside, holding a flat cardboard portfolio case. He scans the room, finds the counter, and walks straight to Natalie. "Delivery for Natalie Carter," he says. Natalie blinks. "I did not order anything." He checks a label. "Prepaid. No signature required." Mia leans over from the coffee station. "Girl, what is that?" Natalie hesitates, then takes the case. It is light, but it feels heavy in her hands, like it contains a problem she cannot ignore. She carries it to the back booth during her break, slides it onto the table, and opens it carefully. Inside is an envelope. Thick paper, cream-colored. Her name printed neatly. She opens it. One card. One sentence. "Tonight. 8 o'clock. Westbridge Gallery Annex. Please come alone if you can." No signature. But Natalie knows. Her stomach tightens. Anger flares first. Then something softer underneath it. Something she hates because it feels like hope wearing a mask. That night, Natalie stands outside the gallery in her borrowed coat, her sketchbook pressed against her ribs. The building is smaller than the places she saw at the benefit. No red carpet. No valet. Just a quiet entryway and warm light spilling onto the sidewalk. She tells herself she can turn around. She does not. Inside, the space is hushed. White walls. Clean floors. A few people milling around, not dressed in glitter, just sweaters and scarves and calm faces. The air smells like fresh paint and paper. Natalie takes one step forward and freezes. On the wall, framed under soft lighting, is one of her sketches. Not a copy. Not something similar. Her exact drawing. The diner counter. The chipped mug. The tired hands holding it like it is the only warmth left in the world. She walks closer, her breath shallow. Next to it is a small label. Natalie Carter. Graphite on paper. Her name. Her legs feel unsteady. She turns her head slowly, scanning the room, and she sees more. Her street corner drawing. Her late-night subway sketch. The portrait she drew of an exhausted waitress leaning on a register, eyes half closed, still standing because she has to. Natalie's throat tightens so fast it hurts. These were in her sketchbook. These were private. A quiet voice speaks behind her. "I did not take anything from you." Natalie turns. Ethan stands a few feet away, not in a suit tonight. Dark sweater. No spotlight. No stage. Just a man with tired eyes and a seriousness that makes him look older than he did in the cafe. Natalie's voice comes out sharp. "Then how is this on the wall?" Ethan nods toward her sketchbook. 2 weeks ago, you left it on the table at the cafe when you went to the counter. It fell open. I saw the first page. Only the first page. I asked the barista to call you, but you were already outside." Natalie's grip tightens on the sketchbook. "So you used it?" "No," Ethan says quickly. "I asked the cafe manager to contact you and return it. They could not reach you. Your phone was off. When I finally gave it back at the diner, you did not check the pages. You were angry. You walked away." Natalie swallows. She remembers that day. She remembers shoving the sketchbook into her bag like it was a weapon. Ethan continues, "Careful. I made copies of only what I saw that first page led to. One page became a question I could not ignore. Why is someone this talented hiding in survival mode?" Natalie's eyes sting. "This feels like buying my life." Ethan shakes his head. "This is not a purchase. This is a platform. And you can reject it." Natalie looks around again. People are quietly studying her work like it belongs here. Like she belongs here. She whispers, "Why would you do this?" Ethan's voice lowers. "Because I lied by omission. Because I watched you be brave at the wrong table, and I let you pay the price alone. And because you deserve to be seen for what you are, not what you lack." Natalie's chest rises, trembling. "Then tell me the full truth." Ethan holds her gaze, steady now, with nowhere left to hide. "My name is Ethan Vale," he says. "I built the company. I built the foundation. And I hid it because I wanted one honest hour. Then I kept hiding because I was afraid you would hate me for enjoying it." Natalie's lips part, but no words come. Ethan takes one small step closer, stopping at the same respectful distance. "I am not asking you to forgive me tonight. I am asking you to choose what you want next. If you want me out of your life, I will leave. If you want honesty, you will have it from this moment on." Natalie looks down at her sketchbook. The same sketchbook she carried like a secret. Then she looks up at the framed drawing with her name beside it. The plant becomes a payoff in real time. And Natalie realizes something that makes her breath catch. Destiny did not drag her here. Someone did. Someone chose to make space for her, not as a charity case, not as a story, but as a person. Natalie swallows hard. I am still angry, she says. Ethan nods. You should be. She exhales, slow and shaking. But I am not leaving, Natalie says, voice steadier now. Not tonight. 3 days after the gala, Natalie tells herself she is over it. She tells herself Ethan Vale is just another powerful man who can afford to be sorry. But the truth is quieter. Every time she wipes down a table at the Harbor Diner, she remembers the way he looked at her in that corridor, like he had finally realized money could not buy his way out of a broken trust. The diner is busy that afternoon. Lunch rush, coffee refills, grease in the air. Natalie moves on muscle memory, smiling when she has to, nodding when she has to, keeping her thoughts locked away behind routine. Then, just before her break, the front door opens and a man in a courier jacket steps inside, holding a flat package under one arm. He scans the counter and approaches. Delivery for Natalie Carter, he says. Natalie blinks. I did not order anything. It is prepaid, the courier replies. No signature required. Mia leans in from the register, eyes wide. What is that, Nat? Natalie does not answer. She takes the package like it might bite her, then carries it to the back booth when the rush slows. Her hands are steady, but her stomach is not. The package is a slim portfolio case. Inside is a single envelope, thick paper, clean edges, her name printed in simple black letters. She opens it. One card. Tonight. 8 o'clock. Westbridge Gallery Annex. No flowery message. No apology paragraph. No attempt to soften her anger. Just a place and a time. Natalie stares at the card until the letters blur. A hot wave of irritation rises first. He thinks he can summon me. But the second feeling is worse. Curiosity. And behind curiosity, something she hates admitting to herself. Hope. That night, Natalie stands across the street from the Westbridge Gallery Annex with her sketchbook pressed to her chest. The building is smaller than the gala venue, quiet and understated. No crowd. No cameras. No velvet ropes. Just warm light behind glass doors. Natalie takes a breath and steps inside. The air smells like fresh paint and clean paper. Soft music plays low enough that conversations remain intimate. People stand in small groups, holding plastic cups of wine, looking relaxed, ordinary, like they belong to the city rather than above it. Natalie's shoulders tense anyway. Then she sees the first frame on the wall. Her drawing. Not something similar. Not something inspired by it. Her exact sketch of the Harbor Diner counter, the chipped mug, the hands wrapped around it like the last piece of warmth in winter. Natalie walks closer, heart hammering. There is a label beside it. Natalie Carter. Graphite on paper. Her name printed. In a font that makes it look official, real, worthy. Natalie's throat tightens so fast, she can barely swallow. She turns her head slowly, scanning the gallery, and sees more. The street corner she drew at midnight, neon bleeding into rain. The subway platform sketch, faces blurred by exhaustion. A portrait of Mia laughing behind the coffee machine. Pieces of her life. Pieces she never showed anyone on purpose. Her pulse spikes with alarm. Her grip tightens on her sketchbook. A voice behind her, low and careful, says, I did not take anything from you. Natalie turns. Ethan stands a few feet away, not in a suit. No stage tonight. No spotlight. Dark sweater. Tired eyes. His hands are empty, visible, as if he is proving he is not hiding anything. Natalie's voice comes out sharp. How did you get these? Ethan nods once, accepting the anger without flinching. 2 weeks ago at the cafe, you set your sketchbook on the table when you went to the counter. The pages shifted. I saw one drawing. Only one. It stopped me. Natalie's stomach twists. So you used it? Ethan shakes his head slowly. I asked the cafe manager to contact you because I wanted to return it properly. I did not want to chase you again. They could not reach you. Your phone was off. When I gave it back at the diner, you were done with me. You did not check it. You walked away. Natalie's eyes flicker. She remembers shoving the sketchbook into her bag like it was contaminated. Ethan continues, voice steady. I photographed only what was visible on that open page. Then I hired a curator to build a small exhibit around the idea that real work lives in real people. I did not sell anything. I did not attach a price to your name. Everything here is credited to you. And if you want it all taken down tonight, it will be. Natalie swallows hard, looking at her own name on the wall again. People are studying her work with quiet respect. No smirks. No pity. No judgment about her dress or her job. Just attention. Natalie's voice drops. Why would you do this? Ethan's jaw tightens like the answer costs him something. Because I hurt you. Because I let you pay for my silence. And because you deserve a door that opens without you begging. Natalie stares at him, eyes burning. Then tell me the truth, she says. All of it. Ethan holds her gaze, and there is no escape left in his face. My name is Ethan Vale, he says. I am the founder of Vale Technologies and the Vale Foundation. I hid it because I wanted 1 hour where someone saw me like a man, not a title. Then I kept hiding because I did not want to lose that feeling. Natalie's chest rises in a shaky breath. I am still angry, she says. Ethan nods once. You should be. Natalie looks down at her sketchbook, then back up at the frames on the wall. The life she thought was too small to matter is hanging under gallery lights like it always belonged there. She steadies her voice. I am not forgiving you tonight, she says. Ethan does not argue. Then do not. Natalie takes one slow step forward, deeper into the room. But I am not leaving, she says, quieter now. Not yet. Natalie stays at the gallery until the last guest leaves. She watches strangers linger in front of her drawings like they are studying a language they forgot they knew. She hears people speak her name without condescension, without surprise, without the usual unspoken question of why she is there. When the room finally thins out, the quiet feels different than it did in Ethan's penthouse story. This quiet has witnesses. Ethan does not crowd her. He keeps a respectful distance, letting her breathe, letting her look, letting her decide what this night means. Natalie walks up to the first framed sketch again, the one with the diner counter and the chipped mug. Her fingers hover near the frame, but do not touch it. I did not know my life could look like art, she says softly. Ethan's voice is low. It always was. People just did not stop long enough to see it. Natalie turns to him, and the anger in her eyes is still there, but it no longer feels like a weapon. It feels like a boundary. You hurt me, she says. Not because you are rich. Because you chose silence when I gave you truth. Ethan nods once. I accept that. Natalie swallows. If I let you stay in my life, it cannot be like before. It will not be, he says. I will not be. Your lesson, Natalie continues. I will not be your inspiring story. I will not walk into rooms full of people like you and pretend it does not matter that they look through me. Ethan steps closer, careful, stopping at the same distance he has respected since the cafe. Then we do it differently, he says. We do it your way. Natalie's voice steadies. My way is honesty, even when it is uncomfortable. You have it, Ethan says. From this moment on, Natalie studies him for a long beat, searching for the smallest crack of performance. She finds none. Only a man who looks exhausted from hiding, and strangely relieved to stop. Then tell me, she says. Why did you really invite me to the gala? Ethan exhales. Because I was tired of living in a world where everything is negotiated. I wanted to bring you into my reality, not to impress you, but to show you what I have to fight every day. I thought if you saw it, you would understand why I hide. Natalie's eyes narrow. And now I understand something else, Ethan says. Hiding cost me you. And losing you is the one thing I cannot buy back. Natalie's throat tightens, but she does not look away. Ethan reaches into his pocket slowly, telegraphing the movement so she does not feel trapped. He pulls out something small and folded. A single paper napkin. Natalie blinks. What is that? Ethan opens it carefully. On the napkin is a rough pencil sketch. Simple lines. A woman holding a sketchbook to her chest, chin lifted, eyes braver than she feels. Natalie's breath catches. You drew that? I tried, Ethan says. After you left the restaurant. I kept thinking about your sketchbook. How it looked like your courage had a cover. Natalie stares at the napkin like it is fragile. Ethan's voice lowers. You told me you were careful with your heart. I hear that now. So I am not asking for your heart tonight. He pauses, then adds, I am asking for a chance to earn it. Ethan reaches into his other pocket and pulls out a small ring box, but he does not open it yet. He holds it in his palm like an offering, not a demand. Natalie's pulse kicks hard. I will not marry you for the story, she says immediately, the words firm. Ethan nods. Good. I will not marry you because you can change my life, she continues. Ethan's eyes stay locked on hers. You already changed mine. Natalie exhales, shaky but controlled. If this becomes real, it has to be real in daylight. In truth. Not in a corridor. Not as a secret. Ethan's throat moves as he swallows. Then let it be real. He opens the ring box. The ring is simple, elegant, not loud. The kind of beauty that does not need to shout. Ethan's voice barely rises above the quiet of the empty gallery. Natalie Carter, the best hour of my life started because you sat at the wrong table. I am done hiding. I am done letting fear make decisions for me. Will you let me spend the rest of my life proving I deserve you? Natalie's eyes burn. She looks around at her work on the walls, her name printed like she belongs. She looks back at Ethan, the billionaire who finally stopped acting like a billionaire and started acting like a man. Then she lifts her sketchbook, opens it to a blank page, and writes one sentence with her pencil. Honesty, always. She closes the sketchbook and holds it out to him like a contract of her own. Ethan nods, eyes shining. Honesty, always. Natalie takes a breath that feels like stepping off a ledge into something that might finally catch her. Yes, she whispers. Then, louder, steady now. Yes. Ethan does not rush her. He slides the ring onto her finger with hands that tremble just enough to prove this matters. Natalie laughs through the sting in her eyes, and the sound fills the gallery like the final brushstroke on a painting. Later, it is not a massive wedding with cameras and headlines. It is small, warm, a simple ceremony with a few friends, a few honest promises, and one framed napkin sketch on a table beside her sketchbook. And when someone asks Natalie if she believes in destiny now, she smiles and answers the truth. Destiny did not take my heart. I chose who deserved it. Thank you for joining us for this cinematic adventure. If you want more untold or real stories of billionaire love and redemption, please subscribe and choose your next true heart journey on your screen now.